What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How's everybody doing this weekend? Another Saturday, hanging out with the best gaming podcast on the weekend, man. Thank you guys for all hanging out with us once again. Share the link in the description below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. Once again, appreciate you guys. Share that link. Let everybody know we're live. As you guys can see, the guest is not here as of yet. Arizona is weird. Our time doesn't change, so sometimes that throws things off. So hopefully she comes in here and we're able to continue with the show. But we're gonna keep it moving anyway. The show goes on. The show goes on for sure. But I got to get to my compadres here. Hopefully you guys are all having a beautiful week. Turkey Day is next week, so we got that going on. I'm not quite sure if we'll have a show next week. We might just take a quick a break next week, but we'll have a discussion about that. Either way, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But let's go ahead and get to my compadres here. We're going to start with you, Fuzz, fresh off the other podcast. So you're already warmed up. How you been today, brother?
Been pretty good. Man, it is a busy time in the gaming space as
Super
far as
busy.
all these games to play and not enough hours in a day.
Oh, man. Bars.
But
all right,
man,
cool.
It's awesome to be here. We got a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna take up no more time. Let's get into it.
And I appreciate you, man. Once again, shout out to Mav. So Fun Speculation Podcast over there, man. Shout out to you, Fuzz, hanging out every week. Once again, people, if you're new here, subscribe, hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for sharing your time with us every single weekend. Quick shout outs in the chat. What's up, She Snow? What's up, OCD Gamer? What's up, Shown 2 Mod of the Year, man? Share the link. Appreciate you guys all. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Mr. Pong Harvey. How you been, brother? Ending of the week. Your shift is almost over, my guy.
Almost busy week. I've been MIA all week on games. I've been grabbing 40 minutes here, an hour there when I've had a chance. Loved the announcements of the backwards compatibility at the celebration. I took advantage of that, me being a budget gamer, and I hopped on real quick and found some cheap deals. I got the whole Fear series coming. Nice. I wound up getting Max Payne 3, binary domain. Oh my God. So I've already gotten a couple of those, popped those in. And of course, the Black Friday deals are already hitting people. They are live. And of course, budget gamer here. This is my favorite time of the year because I go back and grab a bunch of good stuff that you all consider old, but I don't care. I'm loving it. But you know what? The news has been flying this week. It's been crazy. You got some topics a little bit different from what's been talked about so far this week. Yeah. A little bit PTK. But there's been so much going on. It's just a great time to be a gamer, like Fuzzy said, whether it's games or whether you're in, talking about the industry like we do. It's a fabulous time, man. It's so much fun right now. So can't wait to get down to business. Chat, y'all are looking amazing already. So let's do this, PTK. Let's talk.
Let's get into this, man. But before we can do that, we got to get to our last compadre here. What's up, Centurion? How you been, brother? How's your week going?
What is up, everybody? It is Saturday night. It is time for the Shop Podcast with my second fam right here. Bunch of amazing individuals. I have been checking out Halo. I went on the hunt for Fear and Fear Files, picked up the physical versions of those. Excited to dive back into, honestly, hidden gems. Right, dude, I'm going to be up front watching that whole thing of on the celebration of 20 years. During that whole thing of them announcing backwards compatibility, you could see the games in the background. You're like, lady, get out of the way. Are those the Fear logos? I was excited when I saw those logos. I was hoping for them to be available digitally, but as we found out that the first two are not. But then as Pong Soul mentioned, I was already diving into the Black Friday sale on November 18th, making purchases, getting receipts that said, thank you for shopping on November 19th, taking advantage of that couple hour difference between the East Coast and the West Coast over here. And picked up Tales of Arise and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice. Great pickup.
Hey, Centurion, let me ask you real quick. Did you get a physical copy of the Fear Files one?
Yes, I did. Oh, man.
Yeah. Where'd you get it from? GameStop or what?
No, I found it at a place called Zia Records.
Oh, okay. I don't know you got a little used place. What'd you pay for it, if you don't mind me asking?
I think the person at Zia Records knew something was up. They wanted $18 for that damn thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But on Amazon, I had been shopping around. They wanted like $43 for it.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
no, that's crazy. I've been finding it for 20, 22, 25, depending on whether instructions and case are included.
I picked
And I
up,
thought that was a little steep. I got Fear 1 through 3 for a total of, I think, 27 plus shipping. So that's I
picked
didn't
up
want
the
to.
first Fear for $9 without
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah, I've got cases on all of mine, so I was averaging about $9 each for those. I got, like I said, as soon as they announced, I hopped on Macari and was going through everybody's old listings and finding them.
It's honestly insane. Everybody I've been
Yeah.
listening to on YouTube, the minute they talk about the backwards compatibility update, the first games that come out are Fear.
Yep.
And you're just like, dude, freaking WB Games and them are like missing the ball on this.
I know. Same with Mad Max or Mad Max. Oh my God, really? It's been a long week. Look, yeah, no, I just had to ask because I didn't want to pay that much for the files one, and I was curious what you got it for. So, like, Otogi already went nuts. Blood in the Sand already went nuts. Blood in the Sand is now going for 60 plus. Oh my God, I can't do it. It doesn't even have have FPS boost on it. I'm like, come on, guys. But the Otogis from Xbox, like, I was gonna grab them just to have them. Man, $200 for the second one. Oh, come on.
If you ever want, you could always DM me and I'll just keep my eye out because I always love going to the small little ma and pa stores outside of GameStop because GameStop keeps up with it. It's the ma and pa stores that don't really put too much, aren't sitting there like glued to YouTube like we are. And I mean, like when I bought it, like the guy behind the counter did not have any idea what it was. And the person behind him who also worked there was like, we had that here. And as soon as I heard him say it, I was like, it's mine now. You ain't, no, that's mine. And I mean, at that point, even one of the cashiers noticed I was buying it. And all of a sudden the whole store was talking about the backwards compatibility update for Xbox.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Sorry, I hijacked your show there, PT.
No,
I just had to ask because we were
good.
on that subject. So
I
just wanted to see. I was curious. That's
we got to get the good price, man. I know
good
business.
Yeah.
Come on now. But either way, shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate everybody. Sheesh, know how you doing, brother. So thank you guys. We are moving on to the poll of the week. As you guys know, we always start the show with the poll of the week every single Monday. Follow me on Twitter. All of that information is down in the description below. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. So the poll of the week this week was as follows. So this obviously was posted the day that the Xbox 20th anniversary event went down. So it was today is the 20th anniversary of Xbox. What memory defines Xbox the most when you think back? So there's a lot of memorable moments. I had to pick 4 or 3 essentially with the other option just to kind of make it, a bit fair. So I got playing Halo CE, System Link LAN parties, making a music playlist, very underrated by the way. And then the other option, playing Halo CE, not even close, 59%. That was by far Halo. Obviously, for me, that would have been my runaway as well. That was my answer when I was making the poll. So playing Halo CE, so many memories. Just that was what got me stuck on that box. There's really nothing else to say about that. So we'll start with you on this one, Pong. Just get your opinion on which one did you vote for? Did you go for the other option or?
No, I actually voted for Halo CE. Even though I never owned the OG Xbox, and even though Halo didn't grab me the way it did a lot of people. At the end of the day, when I think back to that time, because my buddies were bringing over their console, my buddy's brother had one, and that was the first time I ever played it. But for me, the experience of playing Halo CE was unique. Again, coming off Dreamcast, my favorite system of all time, right? The reason why I love Dreamcast is because they had so many unique titles. And everybody kept, telling me that the Xbox was, basically Dreamcast part 2, that they were kind of filling that spot. But back then, again, I was still holding on to hope about Dreamcast. I was still living there. And, I had my PlayStation 2 and I was a lone wolf, playing lots of JRPGs and those types of games. So when everybody started talking about all this, Halo and man, you got to play it. And oh my God, we used to think that Bond was great back on the 64, but you got to try Halo. This is insane. And when my buddy's brother brought it over for the first time and I sat down and played it, it was like, Again, it was so unique. It was such a different experience than we have ever had really on consoles. Yes, we've had first-person shooters. I was playing Time Splitters back in the day.
Oh yeah.
But that kind of stuff. We had that, but Halo brought it to a whole new level. Again, it's just something that when I think back, that's the one that stands out just because of that fact, just because it was something that I had never really experienced before. And then obviously we had more people come over, and then we'd have the LAN parties and that kind of stuff. But Halo was the core of it all. That's what started it. And we know that this day, looking back, that they revolutionized first-person shooters forever. And we wouldn't, it's possible we wouldn't have many of the games we have nowadays without having Halo. That's why it is a pillar franchise of the industry, and why I give it nothing but respect, even if it's not my favorite all time. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You respect its place in history, and I still enjoy it to this day. Again, I've enjoyed all the Halos, and Halo Infinite is no different. In fact, I'm looking forward more to the campaign on Halo Infinite this time around than I have any other campaign outside of maybe ODST, but I think this one's even going to hit harder for me. So Halo is here to stay for a reason. It is still king. It's showing that this year, and that's why. But it all started with Halo CE. So I got to give that one its due.
Absolutely. I can't even say it any more eloquent than that, Pong. We can just skip to the next topic at this point, man. I mean, I just really, so it's one of them things like you just had to experience. Like Halo really did change the way I play video games from that point forward. Like there's really nothing else to say about it. Like I have very few experiences like it in my entire life. Like where I sat down, I played it, and I didn't know what I was playing. Like I didn't know what was like. I'm like, what is going on? Like then 5-6 hours go by, you still playing. It's like, holy like this is so immersive graphically for the time. It was
music.
Amazing.
The music was off the charts because the Xbox was so good at playing back music. Like you talked about, the Xbox was so far ahead of the game and from a technology standpoint that we were seeing things and experiencing things that we just hadn't up to that point. It was a leap to see that in action. And again, all of that created this atmosphere and really made Halo special. So,
absolutely. And once again, chat, shout out to everybody in chat as well. Halo is king, by the way, for sure. And we're seeing that. We're going to get into that a little bit. We're not going to jump the gun. We're going to let that topic marinate because we got a whole lot to say about that. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, get your opinion. So out of those options, brother, in chat, let us know as well. Which one of them options or the other option is fine. Let us know which one would you guys choose and why. So go ahead, Centurion. It's on you, brother.
Mine was illegally ripping music onto the console. No, I'm joking.
Look, I have so many damn playlists. Dude,
I knew some people that used an Xbox literally as nothing but this glorified jukebox. There was just so much music on some people's Xboxes. It was unreal. But I'm in the Halo camp. I mean, to me, Halo really gave Xbox some legs. Everybody was talking about it, and I had to check it out. And those are my memories of at least the original Xbox, was hopping onto Halo and playing something, at least in my opinion, that was actually very different. Like for me, the first-person shooter experience for me was 007 GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. And then all of a sudden here's Halo, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is great. I mean, not like linear and corridors and all this other stuff. It's like, hey, go out and fight these different types of aliens. And like there was the Warthog, and I think there was even a few moments where you actually were in a craft actually flying over shooting at these guys.
It just felt so epic. It felt like a movie, you know.
Oh, dude, and that ending, the ending of Halo, where you just like totally plowing the freaking Warthog off that exploding spaceship. I mean,
spoiler alert.
Oh God, I'm just saying. Well, okay, whatever. My bad. Spoiler alert. I'm just saying, they were doing Michael Bay before Michael Bay was a household name. Those are my memories right there. Where I didn't really have the LAN party. It was more like packing up my Xbox and TV and taking it over to my friends' houses who had PlayStations to show them this stuff.
Oh, dude, we were moving that thing around like drugs in the trunk, bro.
Oh,
like,
dude,
I swear.
and that was
It was
back in the day of tube televisions, man. You had to be a power lifter to move your
Oh yeah,
TV.
no, absolutely. The system link, all of that good stuff before everybody had broadband. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Just get your opinion on this. Once again, shout out chat. What's up, Zink? Glad you made it, brother. Shout out everybody hanging out in the chat. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know we're live. Hit that like button. It greatly helps the show. So let's go ahead and end this topic with Fuzz, man. What do you think, man, out of those choices?
For me, I had to go with other because I'm just thinking of my experience with Xbox, and like I said, I'm fairly new to the ecosystem. So for me,
You're wrong, Fuzzy.
No, but for me, what defines Xbox for me is what Forza as a legacy, both motorsport as well as Horizon, did for just racing games in general. Being a Sony cat for so many years and still playing on PlayStation, but Gran Turismo, I didn't think anything could ever outdo Gran Turismo for years and years and years. And when the PS4 came out, Drive Club being a more arcadey style game, but it had like this online competitiveness, which, truth be told, all my years on PlayStation, it's felt more like an island as opposed to a nation type of thing.
Yeah.
But it just seems like ever since Drive Club decided it wanted to say, oh, it's a Forza killer, and I got pissed off because their launch was abysmal with online not working even a year after delay, I kind of looked at Xbox. So for me, just looking back at Xbox, even though yes, I know Halo is the king tentpole in of franchises in the ecosystem, but for me, Forza being an alternative, a more consistent alternative year after year between Motorsport and Horizon. Although more recently they gave a little bit more time to tweak things and stuff, but that's always been more of the standout over the 20 years. Just seeing somebody start from scratch, make this racing game to go head to head what was deemed the sim racing game of all sim racing games.
Yeah.
And Forza kind of, I say take the crown. I know there's a lot of people that will argue with me on that one, but for
It's a
me,
Kingslayer, Fuzzy.
yeah,
It's a Kingslayer for sure.
Forza has. It may not have the numbers as far as total units sold over its lifespan, but it's definitely learned from its competition and made improvements in various ways to the point where it's my go-to for racing. I still play Gran Turismo. I still play sport to this day, but Forza is still pretty much my home for racing.
And the only reason why it doesn't have the numbers, Fuzzy, is because of just pure mathematics with the PS2 and how many consoles were out there.
That PS2
how many people had
that
it, right?
PS2 was amazing.
Yeah. That's the only reason why it doesn't. But now we're going to start seeing it catch up.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
Definitely. So I agree. I mean, there's a lot of momentous moments on the OG Xbox. Shout out to Xbox for the 20th anniversary as well, man. We're going to get into that anyway. That's actually what we're going to talk about next, people. So that went down. We thought that was the biggest news of the week. It actually was the biggest news of the week. But, something came out of that was just as big. And we'll get into that in a little bit as well. Either way, this Xbox 20th anniversary event went down. So we talked a lot about this before it went down, what to expect. What do we think was going to happen? We threw a lot of shit at the wall, right? We threw a bunch of stuff at the wall. So a lot of it stuck, some didn't, but just ultimately expectations versus reality. Where are we at now that we've kind of let it marinate? You guys have rewatched the show maybe a few times. I know I have. I've watched it twice thus far. Where you guys at on this? And we'll start with you, Centurion, actually on this one, man. Like, what do you think about just the event, just the show in general? Do you feel like it showcased like what you thought about Xbox after 20 years?
I'm not trying to say I told you so, and especially to you gentlemen, but I knew they were going to celebrate pretty much what Xbox has done for the industry. They talked about how Xbox Live and the network came along. I even loved how they brought The Rock into it. Like, I was laughing about, I've even said that they needed to have The Rock come back and do this again. And lo and behold, The Rock is there. Of course, he was glorifying his new television show on Netflix or movie, whatever it is, but he was still there. I totally am what could I say? I mean, the show really was everything I thought it was going to be. I went in with a level-headed mind, knowing that they were not going to probably do something spectacular. I was very shocked at what happened at the end, because I thought it was just going to be rumor and hearsay going around on social media. But like what you've said, that's a story for later on in the show. But I was definitely I got extremely excited when I saw them start showing all the backwards compatibility games and how much further they were going to bring that program. It is really tragic though that they're pretty much that's it. They're getting to the finish line when it comes to backwards compatibility. But that's purely because a lot of these developers are seeing how they can resell a game versus because Microsoft did backwards compatibility great. I mean, FPS boost, like HDR on games that don't have HDR. Xbox showed how to really take older games and to make them work on a newer console and to really do it right. And that's when a lot of these developers took a step back. It was like, oh my, we want to charge people for these features, so let's not let that be very easy for Xbox. And as we could see, Xbox had to kind of throw in the towel when it came to bringing us more backwards compatible games. But other than that one part of the show, I was saddened by finding out about backwards compatibility. Let's just say that. But the actual show itself, to me, was an amazing show. It definitely showed everything that Microsoft has done for the industry and what they plan to do for the industry in the future. It has me even more excited for what's to come for the Xbox brand. And whether people want to accept this or not, throw salt, names, labels, all this other fun stuff, Microsoft has really drove the industry forward. They've created really good competition in the industry. This has helped fuel more software and better hardware design for us to all benefit from. And this show was just basically a giant thank you to the fans for pushing Xbox to do better every time.
Yeah, no, it was a great show. I mean, just from a logistics standpoint, just from like a visual standpoint, it was a great show. We knew obviously it was a celebration. They kept emphasizing that on Twitter all week, the weeks prior. You know, it's a celebration. It's a celebration. So we understood that was going to be the most important part of the show as well as the focus. So I think they nailed that. I did love The Rock, obviously. A lot of nostalgia there because he was part of the reveal of the OG Xbox and bringing that back around, that's really, really cool. I also, I don't know if you guys caught it, but that documentary that's coming out looks really interesting about kind of the behind the scenes of like how they went about making the Xbox and everything that went into it and how difficult it actually was as far as, even just being able to present it, them like basically kicking down, doors in boardrooms saying, hey, look at our idea. Come on. All these little weird IT guys jumping in board meetings.
They had a gentleman, I think his name is like Seamus or something like that on Twitter that came out. And I really liked what he said because I think he was one of the original developers for the Xbox. He said, imagine being the company who created XL wanting to say that you wanted to make a game console. And then the people who wanted to buy said game console had to go home and convince their girlfriend, their wife, significant other, their family, their friends that it was okay to buy a game console from the company that made XL.
Yeah,
Definitely. So. And then they got The Rock on stage to say some very massive words. I completely forgot about when I was watching that. I'm like, oh my God, he has to be reading a teleprompter.
Oh, absolutely. But either way, once again, guys, it was an amazing show. Super duper happy with it overall. So we can go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong.
Yeah, you did. You guys covered it. Look, this was one of the best shows from Xbox. Xbox has been firing all cylinders. I think we've said that so many times on this podcast and elsewhere over the past 2 years now. They've just been firing. They've had some slip ups here and there, but look, they've really figured themselves out. They really have a good grasp of the image that they're trying to portray at this point. And that lends itself to these types of shows. And this production value that they put into this celebration was second to none. I actually was sad that it was so short, but what they packed into that 30 minutes was absolutely incredible. They really did a great job with a short time frame of bringing it full circle, like you said, starting with the Rock, and then bringing Rock back, really going through the history. There's nobody that watched this show that has played on Xbox that didn't have some type of memory or memories pop in their head as they were going through the generations and showing things. And like I said, it was just a phenomenal job. Xbox marketing is on their game right now. The entire Xbox team, again, is just so confident at this point. This is a totally different Xbox than last gen.
It definitely shows.
It's so strange, man. It's just this. And we've said this so many times, and people who maybe not experienced it, maybe they were too young or whatever the case may be, but me being an adult raising a family during the 360 generation, this is the 360 generation, but take that up 100 notches as far as where they're at and how comfortable they are, because during the 360 generation, of course, they had to deal with the Red Ring of Death, which was no joke. People don't remember what a debacle that was. They were turning down people at first. For warranty returns. They refused to take them back for a while until Ballmer stepped in. And that's why I'm looking forward to that 6-part documentary, because it looks like they're going to give us that peek behind the curtain, warts and all, that we never get to see. We sit on
like the Jordan Last Dance.
Yeah, we sit on these shows and always say, God, wouldn't it be great to be a fly on the wall during this time, during this meeting? It looks like they're going to actually give us some of that. And even more incredible, that documentary, I can't wait to watch it, is seeing some of the people like Greenberg, who has been there from the beginning. Yeah. I think that was Greenie on the skateboard that was skating down the hall.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's just going to be insane to see all these young guys. Phil was an intern. So, yeah, I just really think they did a great job encapsulating where they've been and how they got to this point. Would I've liked to see a little bit more in the future stuff, because we talked about that, and I thought they would do past, present, and future a little bit. And that's why we had all, kind of given our guesses, and I said that maybe we see not a new game, but a game already announced, maybe one of those ones that we haven't had an update on in a while, like Avowed or Hellblade or something like that. I mean, I thought Hellblade would be at the Game Awards, but I'm just using that as an example. I thought maybe they'd give us a glimpse at one of those, just kind of as a peek to the future. But overall, just fantastic, and then give us a teaser on the new Halo TV show, which looks incredible. Hopefully they pull it off. Hopefully that is high production value as well. But how they're showing it to us, it appears that it is going to be a more serious look. It's not going to be campy. It is going to be a great look at Master Chief and Cortana's story together. Again, this is the expansion of that lore that we've talked about so many times, that has just been sitting there now for 2 decades, waiting to be experienced by people, and they've never really delved into that side of things. And now they're so confident right now, and looking at the entertainment industry, that they're going to start breaking that out. And Halo has a chance to really be something special if they do all this stuff right. So that was awesome. Backwards compatibility, like Centurion said, it was bittersweet. However, Centurion, I will give you a little light at the end of the tunnel. I think that right now, as we sit here, they had to say that was the end of the program, because they can't promise anything in the future. They've probably reached the end of their rope as far as it comes to licensing right now and that kind of stuff. But I think as they gather more and more partners in this industry, and they get closer with people like a Sega, there's still going to be games that they work out with deals later on to bring back to backwards compatibility. And I think this might become like a once a year deal right around the holidays. And it may not be 70 games every year, 76 games, I think the total was this time, but I think that we might get a batch, whether it's 10 or, whether it's 15 or something like that of games that they finally close deals on. But yeah, the backwards compatibility was a huge surprise. Not all the games people have been climbing for were in there, but there was a lot of them. And to go and convince Rockstar to allow you to do that with Max Payne, I'm sure was no small feat. But what's funny? We've been seeing Phil out here with all these meetings with people, and all of a sudden little deals start showing up, right? And we saw him on that interview with Strauss, right? And it's just funny how that all works out. People say, those meetings aren't nothing. They're just interviewing with people. No. Phil's always talking. Phil's always wheeling and dealing out here. So to see Max Payne come to backwards compatibility was huge, along with the Fear series and all those. That was a really big deal. And then obviously to end it up with the bomb and Halo Infinite. That's the way you do it. Like I said, I would have done the full boat, but they did a great job. That's the way you close out a show like that. And again, those 30 minutes flew by. I wish it would have almost been an hour because it was so well done. So yeah, hats off to everybody over at Xbox that had a part in producing that. It really was a fantastic way to celebrate the 20th anniversary of both Xbox and Halo. And I can't wait to see more. Like I said, that 6-part documentary, I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. I'd rather be gaming, but I'm definitely going to make time for that because I am interested to see some of the stories behind it. So yeah, bravo. Loved it.
Oh yeah, I'm all over that doc. Day one, I'm all over it. It looks amazing. I definitely want to see what's going on behind the scenes, and like it looked intense, and I'm definitely all over that for sure. So once again, people, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys hanging out, man. Shout out to everybody in chat. What's up, Smitty Smith with the $5 super chat? Says salute to the panel in chat. Respect you as well, Smitty Smith.
Salute to you, brother Smitty.
That, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for supporting the Shop Podcast here, man. But let's go ahead and get this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion on the 20th anniversary. Once again, we talked a lot about this previous, prior to the show. We talked about what we thought we would see and, how things would land. So based on, the assumption of, that we made prior to the event, kind of how did things work out for you? I was really excited about the overall, just how the show went, ultimately, just how they portrayed the 20th anniversary and went to the history. So where are you at on all of that?
Minus like maybe one or two trailers that I was hoping that they may have shown, kind of thing. I was always under the impression this would be kind of like what they said with it being a celebration, not to make it sound like it was a commercial, but to show them why people enjoy Xbox and anybody that may have left the previous generation, why they should return home, kind of thing. I thought it was well timed or well paced. Yes, it was a short show, but it packed a punch, especially at the end.
People had issues with the time it aired because it was kind of weird. 10 p.m., 1 p.m. on the East Coast kind of thing. Yeah. It's kind of weird, middle of the day, but go ahead.
No, but it definitely delivered a message showing, the history and everything that should be celebrated about Xbox. I'm one of those that's definitely going to be watching that documentary as far as the behind the scenes stuff on, the story of Xbox, because, that documentaries in general or things when I'm not gaming are kind of my go-to, but this in particular is going to be one that I will probably thoroughly enjoy, just being in the business world previously. I know there's going to be some interesting looks at things, but I kind of felt that it would be like a party or celebration showing, what Xbox has done, what it's achieved, why people love it, and anybody that may have decided to go to another platform in the meantime, why they need to come back, with everything that's, even though they didn't go into great depth on anything, future related or anything along those lines, but just, seeing The Rock and like, I'm trying to look back at the time frame of when Xbox first came out. I was a PC guy at the time, and I kind of had my gripes with Microsoft for software related issues when it came to gaming. Windows ME, if anybody's familiar with that, or even Windows Vista. But from what I find talking with more tech savvy people in the programming world, it was more so that I didn't have the hardware to run those, or at least Vista anyway, as well as it probably could have run as far as on for PC gaming back then. But just looking back at it, it's awesome that they had the back compat. Like, I've seen so many people ask for Max Payne, and it's one of those games that I missed on the previous generation and kind of wish, well, not previous, but like PS3 era generation, and kind of wish that, yeah, maybe I'll dive back in. And then after the Xbox One and PS4 came out, it's like, oh yeah, that's old times. Maybe they'll make a Max Payne 4. Yeah, that ain't happening. But yeah, it just seemed like they did a big fan service. Yes, it's sad to hear that it's like Pong said, it's the end of the journey as far as back compat, but I agree with him as far as they probably will sneak a few more things in there, whether it's through the studios that they acquire in the future, or like Pong was saying, with more partnerships. I could totally see maybe a handful here and there over the course of this generation. But man, the news drop at the end, I think anybody that's been looking at their timeline of friends on Xbox Live, that Halo Infinite beta, that news at the end, even though it wasn't the biggest surprise because it was kind of like leaks of it and stuff like that, I still think that was awesome for them to do. And it's kind of one of those things we kind of joked about, like, oh yeah, maybe they'll do that at the 20th anniversary. And we also kind of believe before they showed the trailer for Halo, or the visiting of the trailer for Halo Infinite, we figured they would save it for the 20th anniversary or something along those lines. But everything else, it was cool to see. Wasn't expecting anything new, but like Pong said, hopefully we were kind of wishing maybe Avowed or Hellblade 2, but we'll fingers crossed we'll see some more of those at the Game Awards and things like that. But awesome short show, good history, trip down memory lane type of thing, even though not much of a memory lane for me, only because, like I said, last gen was my intro to Xbox. But I can see now why so many people have stuck with brand, and me included now, ever since Forza got its teeth into me type of thing. But man, it was a pretty good show. Well paced, well rounded, awesome.
Awesome. I think so too. I mean, I think it definitely was better than my expectations. I didn't have very many. I mean, it was a celebration, and that's what it was. I mean, ultimately, that's what I wanted to see, them celebrate the history, them, give me that nostalgia. I need all of it. Give me all of it. That's what I want, from an event like that. Then obviously the bomb at the end of the show. Now, to be honest with you, sometimes I thought about it later on. Like, I don't care as much now, but I thought about it afterwards. Man, like had that information not been leaked, that would have been such a that drop would have been so much bigger.
I think it actually increased, because
you think it made it bigger?
I think it made it bigger. I really do. I think more people were watching than would have been watching, because it was such a division. For that. It was such a division, because people were like flat out, nah, this is not happening. They're not going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. I get it. I get that angle. That angle. Got it. So now that makes sense as well. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Now, this may get a bit divisive, chat. This has been super divisive all week. We're talking about the VGA Video Game Awards Game of the Year nominees. All right, go look at the list yourself. We're talking about some Game of the Year nominees here. Now, the list got a bit spicy, not for who's on the list, but because there's something there's a glaring game that's not on the list that everybody feels like there should be. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but ultimately we're going to just focus on the games that are nominated. So I just want to get you guys' opinion, and once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about the nominees. Who would you have on? Who would you take off? That kind of thing. We're going to start with you on this one, Fuzz, because I'm dying to hear where you're at on this, man. Okay, disclaimer, chat. This is before we get into this, disclaimer, all right? We've had conversations, me and Fuzz specifically, conversations about this. So go ahead, Fuzz.
All right. So, all right. When it comes to the elephant in the room, as far as Forza Horizon 5 not being nominated for Game of the Year, which I definitely see it as a snub. Sure, they get the sports and gaming or sports and racing category. I
They
think they've
better
won
win
that
that one.
all the
There's no
previous
way they
years.
don't win that one, right?
but
Like,
but it just, I don't know. There's a part of me that understands the business aspect of it, and I'm trying to give Keeley and the award show the benefit of the doubt. It's about the marketing. There's nothing better to sell a game that may not have performed as well. Although I hate using these kind of conspiracy theory backdoor deal kind of looks at things, but it's like having the Game of the Year edition of a game on your game when it's during the holiday season is huge, and it can definitely make a difference between, a sequel or part two or bonuses, whatever the case may be. I think there is a bit of marketing aspect in this industry of awards, but I don't know. It was a very good field of games that were listed for the nominees, but I is six enough? I don't know if we really need to expand it much more beyond that, but just the sheer number of active players, the sheer number of buzz around the game, the sheer number of you know uh, great reviews for the game
it
overall, I
has
think should
everything.
definitely give it a place in that
So
mention as far as a nominee.
So this is my
Does it?
thing, Fuzz.
Yeah.
And sorry to cut you off here. This is my thing. It has you just went down the list, right?
Mhm.
Like, so we look at these games subjectively. Like, so everybody looks at this thing a little bit different, but you went down the list of things that, like, generally we all kind of like look at games for.
Mhm.
It has everything.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing on that list that it doesn't have. So
Mhm.
continue, and I mean, I just want to make sure we emphasize that if we're really looking at this through the same set of glasses. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Fuzz.
Like I would say, even if the intent is not to give it the award, at least have it in the mention. Now I know Jez Corden did an article on this and even did an update where I guess Keeley got back to him as far as like the timing being an issue with the game being released, or at least the early access being released on the 5th, but the cutoff being the 4th or something along those lines for when they had to decide for the Game of the Year nominees, and the official release not being until the 9th. I get that. That also makes me wonder, well, aside from the marketing aspect of things, then maybe the award should be moved to January, February to give the full year, the full grace of all the games released in the time frame, and have ample time for any game released from January 1 to December 31 type of deal. But it's discouraging. Like I would say, if I was a member of the team now, bear in mind, and I think Kay Asante said this earlier today on one of his shows as well. Playground games is going to be all right.
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah,
going to go on unemployment or anything like that because, oh, they didn't get this award. No, they're going to be fine. They are already doing well from the engagement numbers and the buzz around the game, and how well it's doing in or performing in Game Pass and such. So I don't think anybody's hurt, other than maybe some feelings that, because they put their blood, sweat, and tears into the game. Um, they're going to be fine. But I just get this feeling like if I was part of that team, I would be a little demotivated, knowing that you innovate each iteration of the game, making it better, making it more involved, more engaging, being able to, freshen it up each time. And I know there are some people that are like, oh, it's just more of Horizon 4 with different location. And I can see if you look at it from a quick standpoint, but there's a lot more of the deep dive into in this game in comparison to the previous ones. And they've expanded a lot of the features that people have been asking for. So it when you reach people in a way that, if you I just have this qualification for a Game of the Year award. If when you turn the game on and you're entertained the entire time you're playing the game to the time you turn it off, that should be something for consideration. Now, How far up that chain it goes, I guess, depends on other factors. But
Yeah.
I think this is one of those cases where the game should have definitely been considered. Winning the game of the year, maybe not, because like I said, there are some strong candidates in that list, but it just feels wrong. Now I know there's a segment of people that are going to say the same for Returnal. I'm just recently into Returnal, and I'm loving the game, but once again, it's one of those where yes, it didn't do the numbers of Horizon, but it should have some consideration as well. Um, I don't know. I guess whether we focus more so on like a user selection type of thing, like uh, 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 I guess a viewer write-in type of ballot or something. I don't know.
Isn't
What the
there
case
going to
should
be some other viewer vote?
There's
I
a
know
player's choice award.
Player's
Yeah.
choice award. Okay, go ahead.
But I just feel that this is one of those things where the Game Awards, the part of me that looks at it from the business standpoint, I understand why it wasn't nominated and why a few other prominent games weren't nominated, but it just feels wrong. At the gamer in me, especially the Forza fan in me, it's like, come on, what are you guys doing? It just seems like it's more of a slap in the face in a way that it's like, should I really take it seriously other than for the unveiling or the trailer unveils and things like that? Um, Not to disparage Keeley or the show in any way. I don't have a grudge against him. I know not everybody is a fan of his, and I'm not a fan of his either, but it just feels like it didn't make it, not because of the cutoff, but it's like, even if it was within the cutoff, I still think it wouldn't have made it. It just, I get that gut feeling like it's not something that fits in with the show or the promotion of the brand, or the industry side of things with the game edition or game of the year edition on sale now. But I've rambled and ranted enough. It's time for somebody
No,
else
it's all good.
to chime in. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So it's so, I mean, obviously you can look at this thing from a ton of different perspectives, right? I think mostly they got the list right. Mostly, obviously, this is all subjective, right? This fantasy football. That's what we do. So I think mostly, from my personal opinion, the list mostly was right. I haven't played every game on the list, to be fair, so I may not be the best judge. And once again, we got to look at it that perspective as well. So I do think for the most part the list was good. Forza not being on the list is a bit crazy, considering, like I said, I think the biggest thing you can look at as far as Forza's case is that it really checks every single box. It's probably the best looking game the entire year. So you have the visual, the marketing was great, the buzz surrounding the game was amazing. Obviously, the buzz matched what actually happened. So the buzz translated to numbers. You have 10 million in under a week, in a week, like everything is there. Everything is there. It's a complete game. It's not broken. I don't hear about 36 patches having to come out for the game within a week. It runs great. It's in Game Pass. So there's really nothing else. Chat, let me know if I'm missing anything, because I don't really think there's anything I'm missing. And once again, this is not to throw any shots at Jeff Keighley or the award show. I think he actually does he's essential to the industry, as far as what he does for the industry, as far as pushing this event and being kind of an ambassador for video games in other spaces like movies and music and things like that. It's kind of cool. So I don't want to bash the show overall, but I think it's a bit strange, and I hope it wins the awards that it should actually win. The awards is probably going to win anyway, but if it loses like sports or something, I'm gonna lose my mind. I think it's in this. I didn't go check. Is it in sports again?
Yeah, it's in sports and racing.
It's in sports again.
Combined category.
Combined category.
It's competing against F1, 2022, Hot Wheels, FIFA, and I'm drawing a blank on the last one. I'm sorry.
I don't think we have anything to worry about, boys. I think we're good in that category at least. So I'm just interested to see. But yeah, I can understand the outcry for Forza. It checks every single box, and it fell within the time frame. It didn't have there wasn't a long time between the game dropping and the actual cutoff. I believe it's maybe a couple weeks between the cutoff and when Forza came out, but It's still hit.
I have some dates on the on the time frame. Actually, Forza got screwed over, but I'll get into that when you're done speaking. I mean, they did get screwed over.
Go. I mean, I was gonna segue right into you or Pong anyway. So go ahead.
Well, the reason why I say that gets screwed over is because it's outlined in Jeff Keighley's. Look, I'm gonna be frank and upfront. Jeff Keighley gets off on drama, and I think that's what he uses to fuel the video game awards. There is always something going on in the background, whether it's Kojima sticking him in a game and all of a sudden that game gets put up for game of the year, or I mean, like, it's like Jeff Keighley literally tries to create some kind of fiasco to get more eyes on the VGAs, but that's my own personal opinion. But you'll see right here, he stated on Twitter that Forza 5 was indeed eligible for this year's awards, with the cutoff date being set for November 19th. However, game journalists were told they had to submit their picks by November 4th, and their early access period didn't begin until number blah, 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 blah. But basically, the people who get to vote on this stuff were allowed to alter their votes up until November 11th. Here's the thing. If you want people to vote early and the cutoff time is November 19th, but they're only allowed to alter their votes until November 11th, what is the real cutoff date? Like, it just feels like you created some convoluted system that makes absolutely no effing sense. And I'm not going to sit here and say Forza deserves to be up there on those titles, because I've heard a lot of criticism both back and forth on how great the game is, and there's other people that have had criticism on that. All I'm getting at is that the system that Jeff Keighley has created is extremely flawed. And the other problem is over the years, Jeff Keighley has done a really awesome job at creating mistrust for what he's doing. He has damaged the reputation of the video game awards by the things he does and the stunts he pulls on a regular basis with his shows. Jeff Keighley is damaging his own product with his own created drama. I'm just saying, that's what I'm not over here to harp on Jeff Keighley. I'm not saying that he's a horrible human being, but he is one of these people that see the console war narrative, and he knows that drama sells better in that narrative than championing anybody's success or putting a good job. I mean, like,
so I'm not gonna go there. I don't agree, but I understand your point. I get it. There's been some questionable things as far as Jeff Keighley. A lot of people, feels that he's always kind of looked at things at a, kind of at a slant with a bias, what have you. But
I'm not going to say it's a bias towards one brand or the other. Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm not going to sit there and say that Jeff Keighley is championing for PlayStation. I don't want people to think that. I don't think, for me, it's Jeff Keighley sees the show more as a way for advertising revenue, because the show does come off as a very heavy, a very glorified advertisement for the gaming industry rather than celebrating the games that everybody loves and plays. I also don't like the fact that he puts gaming media opinions above public opinion, because we all know that gaming media journalists, really a select few of them, like to push narratives and like to push their own personal views on things that have no meaning in gaming in these narratives. And I just really feel that he has given way too much power to individuals that basically, that us gamers don't really want to be telling us what is a good game and what is a bad game. And Jeff Keighley, and what I mean by is damaging the reputation of the video game awards, is he is still the only person I could think of off the top of my head that owns a game award and owns an award show. And he was put in a video game, and that video game very quickly was nominated for Game of the Year. I'm sorry, but conflict of interest is conflict of interest. And generally, when you're in a position like Jeff Keighley, you shouldn't create these conflicts of interest, because it creates distrust. It creates a misconception of your brand, regardless of it being true or not. Having these misconceptions of the video game awards is damaging to the product that he is trying to create. And I don't see why he doesn't want to nip these narratives in the butt and actually stop creating these problems. But it always seems like he always has something going on that just somehow undermines the validity and the trust of the video game awards. Look at Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk had one of the worst launches in gaming that we've seen in a long time, and it's up for 2 nominations in the Game Awards that have a lot of people up in arms. One of the guys I watched on YouTube is like, what are we going to do next year? Are we going to nominate the Grand Theft Auto Definitive Trilogy? Basically somehow, even though it was a complete flop. He's like, it just feels like at basically the video games are more like I scratch your back, you scratch my back. And it's not really, it doesn't come off as something that is genuine and pure, because it just feels more like I said earlier, more like an ad campaign for the gaming industry, and whoever wants to definitely to try to put out it's more like he's more interested in ad revenue than trying to keep it legit. I'm with you guys. I feel he should do the Game Awards like every other award show does. They do their awards the following year, celebrating what was released that prior year. But somehow Jeff Keighley has created a system that is more convoluted than Metacritic.
So, I mean, after those strong opinions, I'm sure you'll have some very nice things to say about Jeff Keighley, Pong. I'm 100% sure that that's what's going to happen next. You'll have some very, very awesome words, uplifting, very positive things. But no, and to be fair, to be honest, I get what you're saying, Centurion, and that obviously that's your opinion. I don't know if I share the same opinion. I do understand, though. I get it. I 100% get it, because sometimes the optics are a bit foggy. Sometimes things look a little bit foggy and, suspicious and what have you. But we'll go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Get your opinion just about the award show. The nominees won. We don't want to discredit the people that actually got voted, because there's a lot of great games. We talked about this year being jam packed, so we don't want to discredit the games that did get voted. My game of the year, Psychonauts 2, is gonna win. By the way, just so that everybody knows that's the game that's gonna win. But go ahead, Pong.
All right, first things first. Hey, other Zinc, love you, brother. You might want to close out your mute the sound for a little bit here. Give me 10 minutes. All right. We diverge a little bit on Keighley. I know your opinion of Keighley. Look, here's the deal. I do disagree with Centurion in some points. And that's okay. Again, I understand people's perception of Keighley. I do get it. I don't like everything that he does. But I am going to give him where credit when credit is due. Okay. The guy created the biggest game award show for the video game industry that it's ever seen. Okay. It is a part of the industry becoming mainstream. And yes, Centurion, it is a business. Okay. Flat out. It is. All the award shows are businesses. That's why for me, I don't care about award shows, right? I never have. Once I figured out how much fluff there was and how much garbage it was, and it was just a bunch of people looking for attention, and that's the main part of it. And like you said, advertising revenue and all that kind of stuff. I watch the award ceremonies for all the announcements. Okay. So yes, you are absolutely 100% correct. The reason why he can't move the date is because he would not receive as much ad revenue. Flat out. He's got a prime time slot prior to Christmas, and he can sell those advertising spots for a lot more money when he does it that way. And we would not have the awards show that we do have without that revenue. So he's going to keep it there because that's what makes most sense, right? And I get the point, and I agree 100%. We should include the whole year, but I also understand from a business aspect of why he's doing it. But I do give him credit. He's put the limelight on the industry more than any person has from the awards standpoint. We've had video game awards for a very long time. Other people have tried to do what he does. Other people, like the BAFTA awards, are much lower key, more, I would say, prestigious from the aspect of how the voting goes down and how they're perceived. Just like we have different award shows in music, movies, writing, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have different awards ceremonies, and this one is more about the the glitz and the glamour of the video game industry than it is actually about the awards. However, here's the deal. There is, Centurion's not wrong from the standpoint of credibility that if Jeff wants to take himself and his show to the next level, he does have to take a look at how the system is set up and make sure that he is representing the industry in the best way possible. There will always be games that somebody is disappointed was left out of the award ceremony.
Can't please everybody.
You can't, right. You can't have a category with every single game. Okay. Yeah. That's just not going to happen. However, when a example like this does pop up,
quick question,
and does kind of show itself, I think it's a time for reflection. And again, a lot of people don't know that Keighley actually has a board of representatives. And on that board is Phil Spencer. On that board is Jim Ryan. And I think Bowser's on that board too. So all the major players are represented. Okay. So if there's an issue, we're not going to know that what discussions are being going on in the background, but if there's an issue with how things are going or they don't like it, the board has the power to talk to Jeff, right? And kind of make suggestions. And hopefully they will do that if they see that there is a way to improve it. Now, again, they're benefiting from this award show. We've heard Phil come out and talk multiple times that E3 and the Game Awards are the two most important dates. And there's a reason for that, because it is like a second E3 at this point, or is slowly but surely turning into a second E3. They announced the Series X at the Game Awards.
They didn't wait till E3, if we're being honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the amount of people that are watching is insane. And that is, again, a benefit. And Others Inc., yep, I totally understand that you disagree with all these points. Like I said, brother, it is just what it is. I see it from a different way. Here's the deal. As far as specifically Forza Horizon 5, all the games nominated were deserving, okay? All of them. It can't be a popularity contest alone. So the 10 million people, while it should be respected and it should be looked at, that can't be the only thing, because then it would just be the most popular wins, and smaller games that still deserve to be nominated would be left out in the cold, right? It would be your biggest games of the year. Call of Duty would have won multiple years in a row, right? And I don't think anybody thinks that should be the case. So that's just got to be one part of it. Here's the deal. This year specifically, 2021, did not have a dominating set of games. It had a bunch of great games that were all deserving of this nomination. And my point from the get-go here is that there is a perceived glass ceiling or a perceived wall that certain genres cannot get Game of the Year. Now, whether that's real or not, it always pops up from time to time. And that's part of the media as well, because they're the jury, supposedly over 100 media members. So it's on them to change that perception as well. When a game comes along, not forced, but comes along and does something so great like Forza Horizon 5, which is, again, prove that a certain genre, it does not matter. Again, this isn't the Game of the Year awards, except for racers, except for RTSs, except for JRPGs outside of Final Fantasy. This is not what, you don't have exceptions in that name. Okay, it's Game of the Year. So when a Forza Horizon 5 comes along in a year where there is a lot of great games, but not like a set of like, oh my God, these are just unbelievable games, or even 1, 2, or 3 unbelievable games. When you have a year like this is the year you take advantage. And this is a tweet I did to Keighley, right? I again, you could be respectful. And I want to say this real quick. The clown shows on both sides of this fence here. If you're going to bully Keighley and you're going to get personal with the man, right, on Twitter, and you're going to come after him publicly like that, you're doing nobody any good. Stay out of the conversation, okay? Stay out. You destroy your argument, whatever your argument is, you destroy it instantaneously. There's a way to do this the right way, and it's to bring up good points. And my point to Keighley was, wouldn't it be great for the industry and for the Game Awards to show that wall does not exist, right? It'd be a great moment to have this year, to have Forza Horizon 5 nominated. Again, not about winning. If it won, fantastic, but that's not even what it's about. And again, I don't care about award shows. This isn't about me. This is about the devs and all the people that worked on the game. And whether we think that it's enough to have 10 million people playing it and everybody praising it, including the media, one of the highest rated games of the year, whether that's enough or not, honestly, we all know no matter what industry you are in, you like to be acknowledged, okay, when you're doing hard work for years at a time on something. So these awards are just a little acknowledgement, and to be nominated is a big deal. That's why they put it on the covers of their games. That's why they advertise with those nominations, right? That's why they do all that. That's why they have trophy cases in the studio showing off all the hardware that they've gotten, because it is important. That acknowledgement by whoever is voting is important to those people that work there. And that's what this is a part of. So again, if you're going to have an award show and it's going to be one, and you've positioned it to be one of the biggest award show going, the biggest one in this industry, hands down, if you're going to position it, fantastic. Congratulations. Amazing job. You grew with how the gaming industry has grown and you've positioned yourself here. Now you got to take the next step and say, how do we make this even better? And how do we make it more representative of the industry as a whole? And right now, I don't think it does, because of this perception that those games can't get into the conversation. And I think this year, with the voting dates that Centurion just explained, right? We all know human nature is to hit submit and then forget about it, right? And you're not going to go back and change it. That's the way it is for most people. And Jez Corden, shout out to Jez over at Windows Central, wrote a great impassioned article. He didn't even send it to his editor. He talked about this on the Xbox 2, and he just threw it out there, ruffled a bunch of feathers, but he did get some responses, and he talked about it on the Xbox 2 with Rand on Saturday. He did get some responses, and he got mixed responses. Some people said, we didn't even know we could change it. Now, if that's true, if actual voters did not know that they could change it because it was a afterthought, because it was a small fine print somewhere that said, hey, by the way, if you want to change any of your nominations, you can do so up until the 11th, then that's a problem that you can look at and say, hey, we need to do better about this. Because when a game like this comes along, they should be able to think in the back of their head and know that they can go change it. Not that they would, because again, human beings are lazy. Don't get me wrong, I am too. Human beings are lazy and we just move on. But at the end of the day, they should know that they can actually do that. And I think a little bit of this is because a lot of them had already submitted their votes. Some of them had the game early. We know that. Some of them complained and said, well, we didn't have enough time to determine if it should have been nominated for Game of the Year. Come on. Alana Pierce came out and did a video and said she was a part of that. And she said that you don't even have to finish the game if you're a voter. You don't have to play the game if you're a voter. It's still on there for you, right? So come on, let's be real here, okay? That's not the question. But I think what the real answer is, it was easier for those people to dismiss a racing game, quote unquote racing game, because of that perception than it would be, let's say, next year. We're going to really find out when Starfield launches 11/11. Okay, that's going to be an indicator. Because I can guarantee you, if Todd Howard drops another one of his masterpieces on us, people are going to go change their votes if the voting is dates to this. Okay, I guarantee you they will do that, right? I think this time it was just easy for them to say, nah, I submitted my 6. I'm happy with them. Forza is fantastic. I have such a great time. Yeah, look at it. It's just so awesome, but it's still just a racing game. I'm not gonna take the time, the 30 seconds to go in and change my vote. Right. And I think that is an issue and something that can be criticized and take a look at and say, how can we make this process easier? How can we extend the time for the final, when you ask, I know there's a lot that goes in these game awards. I know you need those votes in early to get everything set up, but why not have it extended a period of time, a little bit, so that you make sure that you're not missing certain games that are going to be appearing later that month. Right. The same thing goes, I can say, for the beginning of the year games, the stuff that's launched in December, late November, that are technically for next year's Game Awards. Those games as well are forgotten We don't see games early on unless they are out of this world ever appear, right, for this types of nominations, even if they are deserving. There's people who have been arguing that Hitman 3 should have been up for a nomination, and I can hear those arguments. It's a freaking ridiculously good game, right? But I can guarantee you it probably got very little to no votes because it happened so early this year. And we as gamers and the media are always about what's in front of us right now. So I think that these are all the little things that we can talk about. We can have real discussions about it. And again, it doesn't need to get personal. It doesn't need to be bullying. It doesn't need to get to that level. Again, at the end of the day, this is video games. Get a grip. Get an absolute grip. Check yourself, right? And the same goes for the other side who likes to jump in and pour gasoline on this and act, intellectually dishonest, like you don't know why people are upset Forza Horizon 5 is not a nomination. It's just a racing game. Stop. You all know it's more than just a racing game, okay? This is not motorsport and this is not GT, even though that's not an acceptable excuse to begin with because a game is a game is a game. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, and it should never matter. But don't jump in and start pouring the gasoline on the fire just because after you guys spent a whole generation of throwing around Game of the Year awards like it meant something to you. Stop it, okay? I hate all that garbage. But at the end of the day, we can simply go to Jeff and talk about this in a respectful manner on these podcasts and say, hey, this is just some of the little things you can look at to tweak this, to make this better, to give your award ceremony more credibility at the end of the day. Because going forward, as this industry continues to grow, if Microsoft and Xbox hit those 2 to 3 billion people that they want to get to, that means you're always going to have more and more people looking at this industry and taking it serious and enjoying these types of shows. And you want to make sure that your show does represent the industry as a whole. Again, you're not going to make everybody happy, but you want to make sure that there's no perceived walls that are affecting certain games from being nominated in certain categories.
Yeah.
There's an argument for Age of Empires being nominated this year as well. Not that it necessarily had to, but there's an argument for that. But again, would it be easy for the judges to dismiss it because it's an RTS and no RTS has ever been nominated? Absolutely, of course. Again, human nature is what it is. So these are the things that we should talk about. And I hope that the discussions are happening behind the scenes. And I think Keeley is smart enough to understand that this controversy, while it can drive attention like Centurion was talking about, at the end of the day, you don't want that attention year after year. You would much rather have it where you come out and say, hey, we're making some changes. We're going to try to improve the system. We're going to try to be more transparent in how the system works. And we're going to look to try to make sure that games that should be in the conversation are not left out.
Yeah.
And like I said, next year is going to be
a bloodbath.
You think people are upset this year?
Oh, dude.
Literally right now with the games that we think are dropping next year, this is excluding any surprises. This is excluding any indie titles coming out and blowing everybody away like Hades did. This is excluding all the variables, just the big games that we believe are dropping in 2022. You've already got over six games that should be nominated. Again,
that will get heavy consideration.
Right. If they hit. But again, that's Starfield. Guarantee you the voters will not keep that out no matter what the date is if it is a classic. I guarantee you.
So if I could just say real quick, I don't want anybody to think that I'm declaring Jeff Keighley a POS, as I've seen some people say, or that he's a horrible individual. I'm just saying that he is wanting to make the premier video game awards product because that is his product. That is his baby. He is birthing it into the world. And I'm just saying, at least in my mental state, on if I was in Jeff Keighley's shoes, I would want to have a system that wouldn't create this much controversy on a regular basis. It always seems like there's something with every show that's just like you can't explain. So
if we're just gonna wrap this up and button this up, there are some things that are obviously outside of his control regarding the show and how the chips fall. Right? He can't determine when games come out, if games get delayed, things like that happen. Like you said, there's some stipulations regarding when this show happens and why it happens when it does. A lot of financial incentive to do it around this time of the year rather than wait till early next year. So I get it. But at the end of the day, I think that like there are always going to be games that get left out. We only have 6 categories. There's always going to be something that people feel like gets left out. So I get what you guys are saying. He absolutely has to find the most efficient
I'm not
way.
championing for Forza. I'm just talking about how the message of you had to vote by this date, but the entry date for this was here, but you could change your vote by this date. And it's just like, well, if the game is eligible until November 19th, why are people not allowed to vote until November 19th? You have to have all your votes in early, and you can only change them up to November 11th. So that means you have like 8 days that are like absolute purgatory.
Right.
Like if your
I got
game
it.
gets,
I get it. No, I agree with you. Like I get it. That's once again, those are things that we can constructively talk about, and he can constructively look at and actually make some real changes, next year. Because I get it. I mean, you don't want this much controversy around the show. Ultimately, we're watching for other things as well. There's going to be other things there, new games, new trailers. That shit's going to get lost in the shuffle, because we're going to see a lot of stuff. He talked about 60, 70, games / trailers, things like this. There's going to be a lot to see. So I get that, but hopefully he takes all the consideration from the community, all the healthy consideration, and moves forward and provides a better show, because he's seeming to give him credit. The show has gotten a little bit better every year as far as like how the show runs, how it looks, just the way it it's punctual, a lot of things going on. It's not a whole lot of filler anymore.
Yeah, we've seen him adjust on the
that.
fly, PTK, right?
Yeah.
We've seen him make those course corrections. And again, Keely's not, again, the deal with Keely is that he's, to use a sports analogy, right? He's the quarterback of the Game Awards. And we all know that quarterbacks get too much praise when the team's winning, and they get too much criticism when the team's losing, right? That's part of being that face of the franchise.
Yeah.
And Keely is the face of the Game Awards. And so he knows he's in that position, and he's going to take the heat. And, he was actually responding to people on Twitter, not everybody, but he wasn't responding just to blue check marks or well-known people. He was responding to other people as well, and trying to get a conversation as far as what they were trying to talk about. Now, again, if they came back at him in a disrespectful manner or not really answering his question, then he is a known blocker, right? Which I don't have a problem with. Again, that's part of Twitter. You move on. But at the end of the day, he's going to know, he's heard the criticism in the past of his shows, and he has adjusted some of what he does as far as the presentation goes. And as long as he continues to do that stuff, I don't see any reason why he would not be willing to take a step back and say, hey, maybe we do need to look at this whole process and make some little changes here and there to try to make it a better, more efficient way of doing this, in a much more transparent, as I stated before, way, so that the audience, the consumers, the gamers, who this is actually the ones, buying these games and playing them, can understand it a little bit better and have a clear picture of what we're trying to do. That I think that he has the ability to do that within him, and I think he will.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. Again, any other year, Forza Horizon 5, if it was facing stiff competition like next year, I could see why it would not make the final 6. And maybe I do think he needs to expand it a little bit, maybe to 8 or 10. But I think that it could be left out in the cold in any other year. This was just the perfect storm year to have something like that happen, to break through that unseen barrier that seems to be there. So
I get it. And once again, I think that's more so where the people's issue is with, because I mean, from all standpoints, all angles, it checks all the boxes. But we'll go ahead and keep moving on, man. We can go ahead and move on to the last topic. Shout out to everybody in the chat. K Asante, Rain the Third Eye, Zinc in the chat. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate the love and support every single weekend, man. So let's go ahead and move on. We're talking a little bit about this multiverses game, this new Smash Bros. Like game from WB. Now, I haven't done a ton of research on it. I did go and do, read a couple articles. I watched a few things. It's so for me, I understand the Smash references is gonna immediately get compared to Smash. And I'm curious to see you guys, where you guys at on it. But I think the key to this for me is that there's some very, very interesting characters that could be included in this game, like very various computers that WB owns, from movies to other different media. So we'll get started with you on this one, Fuzz. One, have you looked into the multiverses? And two, what do you think about it? I mean, I don't know if you're a big Smash player, but just can anything survive in that space? Smash is its own, is one of a kind.
Well,
and nothing really, it kind of survives in its own vacuum.
Well, it's funny because Nickelodeon came out with a game earlier. Actually, within the past couple of weeks, that was in like kind of like a Smash Brothers type of vein, but with Nickelodeon characters. So CWB tackled this as well. I haven't gotten a chance to check out any of the gameplay or anything along those lines, but it is interesting to see that more companies are dipping their toe into the Smash Brothers type genre as far as a fighting game, and it's cool to see. Can these other games survive? It all depends. I mean, Smash Brothers has survived on Nintendo only forever. So, being that these games can be multi-plat would definitely help. But I'm one of those that believes there aren't quite enough fighting games now. I miss the Street Fighter of old. The Virtual Fighter 5, I haven't even bothered checking that out yet, but we got King of Fighters coming. But the Smash Brothers style games, I think outside of like, what was it, Brawler, that's like a Ubisoft type of deal.
Yeah.
There needs to be more of those types of games, or at least an agreement amongst certain IP or character property companies come to an agreement to say, all right, we're going to put all of these characters in this style game together, instead of just having it where it's sectioned off, where it's only going to be things within the WB ownership or universe type of deal. But it is an interesting prospect. I would love to see more about it, but I really want to see more fighting games in general. Like, and we've talked about this a ton of times, we want to see NetherRealm, do a crossover with Killer Instinct or something to that effect. But a WB multiverse game, kind of like the way the Nickelodeon game is now. Yeah, I'm all for it. Why not give it a try and see where they go from there, type of thing. But
no, I agree. It's
I wish I would have seen more of it prior, but yeah, that's all I got.
No, it's interesting because you never really think about anything trying to occupy that space outside of Smash. Like Nintendo literally owns that space. Like nothing else has been able to survive there. So it's kind of interesting now that you see these companies, taking a shot, saying F it. Let's try and make a not battle royale, but a Smash S type game, with our own characters. But I do agree that they're gonna have to form together like Voltron to take over, to really take a chunk out of Smash's, player base. Like to get people off of Nintendo, it's like trying to get people to quit cigarettes cold turkey. Like it's very, very difficult to do. So that's why it's been so hard for these type of games to survive next to Smash. But let's go and throw this to you, Centurion. Get your opinion. Have you looked at this? Is this something that you plan on playing possibly? And what do you think as far as the Smash comparison?
Well, I did look at it. I can honestly say I have not played Super Smash Bros. I am aware of what Super Smash is. I've known of the space that Nintendo has held like as their little mountaintop when it comes to brawler style games, as I guess they're called. Now I want to give this one a shot purely because I think it's going to be on Xbox, or probably going to be on Xbox. We'll just say that. I will definitely say the one limitation I have when it comes to Super Smash is I don't play my Nintendo Switch enough, and I have no friends on there whatsoever to play with. And the only person I would be able to play that game with would be my wife. And I don't really think that's her cup of tea. So I don't think I'd get much use out of Super Smash, where a game like this, especially if it's free to play, I feel I'm going to be able to get a lot more use out of. I'll actually have some friends that would be willing to want to play it with me, because even though it does have a solo mode, it looks more like you'd have a better experience playing as team battles. I love the fact that they're using a lot of iconic characters from the WB umbrella. Bugs Bunny, Batman, numerous kids characters, and they're even getting these characters voiced by some rather well-known voice
that
actors.
as well.
Yeah, so I've seen this game. It's been on my radar since it was leaked by, ironically, a person that has made their name in playing Super Smash, and somehow he was able to get screen captures of it and put them on Twitter, and they were taken down very quickly due to copyright issues. So apparently that showed that what he was showing was totally legit. And then the developers came out and showed this the trailer, and they did the interview with it, and I'm just going to say this is going to definitely give Nintendo a run for their money. Hopefully this will definitely start showing that games like this can exist outside of the Nintendo Switch. And, you know, as we all say, this is just going to create competition. That's just going to benefit us gamers in the end.
Oh, no, absolutely. I 100% agree. I think the key point that you just made is that, God damn, it doesn't, there can be another game like this. Like, that's important. Right? Like we talk about it every year with like Madden and, some of these other franchises that don't have any competition. Like there can be another game that exists. Somebody can make a game.
And then there's the uniqueness of it. I mean, whoever thought you would have like Gandalf teaming up with Batman?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a really cool fucking idea anyway, but it can also survive in the same space as a Smash Bros. It's a different look, maybe a little bit more mature, game functions a little bit differently, but I don't want to take up too much time. Go ahead, Pong. It's on you, brother. We'll just get your opinion. Have you looked at this? Is this something that you're going to dive into? It is free to play, isn't it? I believe it's going to be free to play.
I thought I read that around at least.
Let me know, chat, if you guys have found out if this game is free to play or not. But go ahead, Pong.
Yeah, no, Smash games aren't my style. I'll be flat out. I think that there does need to be more of them. Other outside of Nintendo, obviously. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Like you guys have already talked about, there's a lot of opportunity for different companies to come together and co-develop one, or there's just plenty of IP, let's say underneath an WB to go ahead and make an own game. We saw Nickelodeon try to do this as well. Here's the big thing. And this is shout out to Steele. He brought this up this morning on Living Split Screen. So I got to give him all the credit and props because he let me know this because he kind of deep dived into it. And read up on it. So they said their number one priority is the servers and the net code. Okay. And that's huge because these fighting games, in order to have a chance to be successful, no matter what characters you have, it has to be priority number one because they have to be tight and they have to run flawlessly. Otherwise, just like Nickelodeon, you lose people's interests very quickly. And that's always been a big issue with these games. When Sony brought out their All-Star Brawl, I played it on the Vita and on the PS TV. I actually was enjoying myself, but they gave it no support. They didn't go fix the stuff that needed to be fixed. Online was absolutely ridiculously horrible. And so it just died. It died right away. But it had such a great group of characters, and it was actually really fun to play. And it had a chance because of iconic characters. They really could have made it something. It could still be going today, and they could be adding all their latest characters to it, just like Smash does, right? This could have been an opportunity. But again, if you're not going to put the work and effort into it when it comes to a fighting game or any online game that really leans heavy into that. And even Smash isn't the greatest. I've heard the complaints about Smash out there too, but they've done enough to get it to a point where it's iconic. So I hope more companies try to do this. I just really hope it's not a throwaway attempt. I think WB's is kind of like a, hey, let's see if this sticks. Let's throw this out here. Let's see what we can do here. Because that's not going to do yourself any favors. If you really want to make a Smash, and I'm not even going to say Smash Killer or anything like that, because I don't think anything really can. But if you're going to make a Smash competitor, and you really want to get your name out there as somebody who is making a quality, that type of game in a quality fashion, you really do have to put time and effort into it. It may seem simple just from the looks of it, but there's a lot more to fighting games than a lot of people believe. And when you get down to the nitty gritty, you really got to give it the TLC that they need in order to make sure they're polished when they come out, so that when people first hop in, their first experience is really, really good. It doesn't have to be perfect, but in fighting games, it has to be really, really good. More people play fighting games online than they do single player, by themselves. So I just think that that's an important key to this one. So I hope that they're serious about that. I hope it comes out really done well, because again, they do have the IP, the iconic characters to continue to develop a game like this and expand it if they do find gold and they do satisfy people's desire for a quality Smash type game. So bring it on. I'm happy for all the people who love these types of games, because again, outside of Nintendo, it's few and far between. And I just think there's a lot of opportunity. So I hope this one they pull it off.
I agree 110%. And I think it's crucial and it's key. And I love the fact that you brought up the net code, things like that. Because listen, Smash Bros is a fine-tuned machine. That thing runs flawlessly. That net code is muy bien. That thing runs beautifully. So, well, most of the time it does. But so yeah, that's hard to overcome. It's kind of ingratiated in, that there's only one of those kind of games, has been for so long. So that's a tough spot to carve out. But hopefully we can see WB take this chance. And like you said, I think the key thing, Pong, is support, right? That's the big thing.
Yeah, huge for those games. You have to.
Yep. Absolutely, man. But I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up the show, man. That is the last topic here on the Shop Podcast. You guys have been amazing, man. 232, another awesome show, another amazing weekend, man. Hopefully you guys are getting on. I'm probably going to jump on and play Halo tonight. 99% sure I'm going to do that. But we're going to go ahead and go around the panel chat. You guys were awesome as usual. Go ahead and run the likes up, retweet, let everybody know. The show was amazing once again. But we'll start with you, Fuzz. Moving around, doing some things. Got some other shows you got going on. But shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. Hopefully we're going to get some Forza content at some point, brother. We need it.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm even though I'm retired, I'm still doing a lot of other things behind the scenes. So I gotta budget my time properly to get into it. But man, awesome show, awesome guys, just awesome chat. I just enjoyed myself tonight. Great conversation on a lot of the current topics and everything. And for anybody interested in hearing my ramblings on Forza or anything else gaming related, you can follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. On Mondays, you can catch me with Mav on Fun Speculation channel for Tidbits, which is the weekly game releases for anything that may have slipped under the radar. It's a way for us to kind of point out some of the games that you might want to check out during that coming week, and either add to the backlog or do like what Pong Soul says and be a grazer and at least give it a try and test out a lot of these games that are coming out pretty much on a weekly basis. And then earlier on Saturdays, like for next week, you can catch me on the FSP or Fun Speculation podcast with Mav and Just Key at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Just basically talking about all platforms. Like tonight we talked about looking forward to was it 2022 and all the games. And man, like we've been saying, it's going to be a pretty stacked year. So if you have the extra time, definitely buckle down and be ready for a whole bunch of games to add to your backlog. And man, looking forward to next Saturday here again on the Shop Podcast with UPTK, Pong, and Centurion. My second family. Love you guys, and always awesome to be on here with you guys.
Appreciate you, man. Once again, every single week, you're always here, man. Love everything you do. Once again, all Fuzz's information is down in the description below. Go check them out. Shout out to Mav as well. Everything going on over there at Fun Speculation, man. Check them out as well. I'm sure Pong will let you know what's going on. But we might as well go ahead and segue to you, Pong Harvey. Appreciate you, brother, every week. Let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, of course, man. What a great night. Great conversations. Like I said, great topics this week. So much news dropping. We could have gotten into so many more things as well. I just enjoy this so much, man. This is the perfect way to end my podcasting week each and every time. I love you, brothers, and you guys are great. And chat, other Zinc, even when we disagree, love you all. Nothing but respect for you gamers. That's what it's about. We can disagree on anything as long as we keep it civil. It does not matter at the end of the day. This is video games. This has nothing on real life. And at the end of the day, it's a hobby, but we're all here to talk about it and enjoy it. And we do get serious at times about serious topics and about real conversations. It's not all the fun and games all the time. But I love all of you too. And again, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us each and every week. Like you guys do for sure. Hey, quick shout out to Game Pass game that just dropped that I did get a chance to play for about an hour this week, and I don't want people to miss on it. If you're looking for a palate cleanser, XO1 came out on Game Pass this week. Yeah. Listen, XO1, this game here was one that was on people's radars, but we've gotten such an avalanche of content. I think some people forgot about. This is the one where you're a little probe kind of exploring different planets. If you need a palate cleanser between Halo and Battlefield and all these other games out there, and you just want to kind of relax before, bedtime or whatever the case may be, check out XO1. This game is absolutely gorgeous. Subtle music, great puzzles in it, not brain teasers, not something that's going to stump you for a long time. It's more physics-based puzzles, like how are you going to control this probe to get to a certain point. We saw the previews where they showed it flying. I think I only saw it flying, or at least that's what I remember. So that was the majority of it. You fly and you also roll on the ground. It transforms into a ball. You got to collect energy. You got to get enough energy to be able to fly. There's air currents that you can use to get higher. There's lightning storms you can use to repower up. But each planet is unique in its environment, and your whole objective is to get to the next. You can find energy throughout you can find these little energy points. They've got hidden little secrets, 1 or 2 per planet that you can go and collect, and it lets you fly longer and all that kind of stuff. But then you got to get to this teleporter, and it's got this really awesome, strange story behind it. Like, you don't know what's going on. You get bits and clips of things that it's almost like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's almost like what we've seen in movies where people are having trippy kind of space experiences, and you're trying to fill in all the pieces of what's going on in the story. Look, don't miss out on XO1 if you're looking for that type of game. It's not going to be a game for everybody by any stretch of the imagination, obviously, but if you're looking for a new one, don't pass on it in Game Pass. It is really, really good. I was so impressed with it the other night. So check that one out. Otherwise, off on my sales speech. Look, find me, Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter. You guys know the drill there. Obviously, this week is going to be different because it's a short week because of Thanksgiving in the United States. It is going to be different. I cannot be on Xbox Factor Podcast on Tuesday. I had to be at the office because of the short week. But obviously, go check those guys out. Mr. Boomstick, Double Barrel Gaming is his channel. You know that. Zemi, Archimedes, Mav, 3-Bit when he's available. Go check them out. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. All the good Xbox stuff. Otherwise, I'll be back the following Tuesday. Real life, not interfering, of course. I'll be back the following Tuesday, but go check them out on Tuesday. And then Thursdays, we have PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM, our new show. We just did episode 5. We're not going to have an episode this week. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving. Sorry, but we're gonna take the night off. So PM in the PM will return the following week as well. That starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Think we're going to have an Xbox Ultimate on Friday night, but that's not for sure yet. Obviously, that's also on Fun Speculations channel, just like PM and the PM is. Come check us out there. The Magnificent 7 is kind of back together. Of course, 3-Bit's been so busy. He's been on and off, but Ladies in and out as well with real life stuff. So, hey, look, but come check us out. Mav always has guests on. We had Obi-Wan, great member of the community, and KY Bob on last night. It was a fantastic time. We really had fun, as we always do. And we're back to playing. Well, they're back to playing Halo afterwards. I couldn't, but I'm going to try to be there some nights on Fridays. So come check us out there. Xbox Ultimate on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Living split screen Saturday mornings. Check us out. 3 hours plus. Me and Steel Rain. We did it again. 3.5 hours today. Go check it out. Steel's got it uploaded. If you haven't, listen, please just give us a chance. I think you'll love the energy that he and I bring. 2-man format. We love it to death. Living Split Screen Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And then otherwise, I'll be back here, of course. Well, we might take a week off as well. So whatever the case may be, I'll be here if we're here. Look, it's Golden Age of Gaming. If you can't tell, we've had more to talk about over the past 3 months than we did for a large majority of the summer. This is a fantastic time to be a gamer. Get out there, enjoy it, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you all real soon. I guarantee you will see me somewhere. That's for sure.
Awesome. Shout out to you, man. Here every single week. We greatly appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. So, Centurion, let's get to you, brother. Let everybody know what's going on with you, brother.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. This was another amazing Saturday night. Really enjoyed the conversation. For those interested who wanting to hear the crazy things I say and do, you can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Xbox Live, and of course, Twitter. You can find me every Saturday night with these great gentlemen right here that put up with me on the Shop Podcast. And you'll also find my other second fam every Sunday night over on the TXR Podcast along with me. And I have also been chatting with another community member, and me and him have started works on getting a project started, hopefully that you guys will start seeing pop up here on Twitter here real soon to start creating some real hype.
Awesome. We definitely looking forward to that content. So once again, everybody, just to wrap things up here, your boy PTK Blam across the board. Follow me on Twitter for that poll of the week every single week, and just general Shop Podcast things in my own personal opinion. So I appreciate everybody that follows me there. Check us out next week, same time, same place, man. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Definitely playing some Halo tonight for sure. So get your butts on Halo. As soon as you guys are done with this, it's the weekend. We're going to hang out, jump in the party. It's probably going to be me, Fuzz, a few other people. But enjoy your weekend. Be safe. We're out of here, people. Peace out.
Later.